This might not come as a surprise to you, but working for a Japanese company can be pretty tough. This is the country that's famous for overwork, where a lot of companies force their employees to stay until the boss leaves, and when there's a term for death by overworking, or karoshi as they say in Japan. But how bad can it really be? Well, today, I'm here to show you the 5 worst companies in Japan to work for, and I'll give you a deep dive analysis into each company, showing you just how bad it is. First, let me tell you about the data for the list. I've used the vast amount of data provided by Alarmbox, which is a Japanese company that specializes in monitoring and analyzing online complaints and feedback from different companies all across Japan. In this list, they've scored over 16,633 companies and found over 3,009 official complaints employees had about their company. And I've taken the top 5 companies with the most complaints from this vast amount of data. So without further ado, here is number 5.
Look, you'll find everything you need in this large store. Plenty in stock, fantastic variety, and everything 20 to 50% off regular price.
You'll find Yodobashi Camera.
新宿西口ヨドバシカメラ
If you've ever been to Tokyo, you've 100% seen Yodobashi Camera's massive electronic stores. In fact, they have Japan's biggest electronic stores in Akihabara, which is over 9 massive floors filled to the brim with technology. So why is it so bad to work there according to the employees? First, there's an overtime epidemic where employees are complaining that they're hitting their limits with excessive overtime, making it virtually impossible to plan any personal time. Reports of 12 to 13-hour shifts render weekends merely recovery periods, obliterating any resemblance of work-life balance. Moreover, the staffing strategy at the company seems to be predicated on the expectations that the staff have to do overtime, otherwise positions won't be filled. The consistent theme of understaffing and the result of extreme overtime work that's often underpaid means that the company is driving through an enormous turnover rate. The second issue, a top-down culture really resistant to change, where it seems that employees are merely there to serve a purpose without saying anything. Almost all feedback seems to come from superiors, and superiors are very uninterested in listening to their employees. This has led to sales quotas that are almost impossible to fill, and when employees come with the reasons why they're impossible to fill, they get harassed by managers. Being called lazy and reprimanded for their bad performance seems to be very common practice in the company. Just as the cherry on top of this horrible workplace culture, there seemed to be a lot of sexual harassment going on with the female employees, both from customers and the female employees' superiors. And because the employees have nowhere to turn when things like this happened, it seems to be completely unaddressed by the leadership. The only good things I can see coming out of this is that these bad workplace practices has come to light on many online forums, and people are actually more and more reluctant to ever set their foot in a Yodobashi camera. Maybe it's the spark that's needed for the Yodobashi camera leadership to finally wake up. Number 4. Transcosmos. Not as famous as Yodobashi camera perhaps, but allegedly an even worse place to work for. This is a Japanese call center outsourcing company, which basically means that they create the call centers for whatever complaints division you need as a company. To be fair, a company like this would probably be on a top list of bad workplaces in any country. But Transcosmos seems to be doing the little extra to get the 4th spot in Japan. The first complaint that comes up over and over again are the salaries. You see, Transcosmos doesn't only seem to have low salaries, but insultingly low salaries, sometimes falling behind the hourly rate for most college part-time jobs. And on top of that, people are complaining that even if you get promoted to a team manager, salary seems to be almost the same. The second thing employees really hate about Transcosmos is the work culture. Even though the company is public, it seems that it has a surprisingly low level of compliance awareness. This, coupled with an environment where overtime is normalized and taking paid leave usually requires justifying it with serious personal reasons, paint a picture of a place where people are miserable to work at, which is why it's places so high on the worst places to work in Japan. Number 3. Aeon Retail. This is the Walmart of Japan. And if you've been anywhere in Southeast Asia, East Asia, or Japan, you've definitely seen an Aeon supermall. This is a massive conglomerate with shopping malls, supermarkets, specialty stores, and even a banking division, serving millions of customers every day. But despite its significant influence all over Japan and Southeast Asia, Aeon Retail has some real bad internal challenges in Japan. Like the other players on this list, employees speak out against excessive work hours and compulsorily unpaid overtime, especially in the supermarket division. What seems to be especially rampant at Aeon Retail are the many cases of mental health leaves, where people are simply too mentally exhausted to continue working and have to take a longer leave, often prescribed by a doctor. The company has actually officially acknowledged this, and they have put in programs to reduce overtime. However, these programs have been criticized as mere lip service, as the situation on the ground is actually seemingly getting worse. Another issue far too prevalent in Japanese companies is the management structure, where seniors don't seem to listen to their employees and seniority trumps correctness, fostering an environment for power harassment. As you might have heard, Japan has a severe labor shortage, especially in the retail industry. And if the management on Aeon doesn't improve the situation, I don't think they'll find many people to hire that are willing to work there. And because people are now speaking up about the bad working conditions, I think this is something that will happen sooner rather than later, which is what I really hope. Number 2. Nippon Life Insurance, or as they're called in Japan, Nissay. This is one of Japan's largest insurance companies, and boy, does the workplace conditions, especially in sales, look horrendous. The first thing employees are talking about are the horrendous ways sales targets are communicated and enforced. They seem to be aggressively high, and if people do not meet them month to month, they are either publicly shamed or even risk termination. The employees also liken the company work culture to being in a sports club. These sports clubs are Japanese clubs in high school and university where people play sports, and they're very traditionally oriented. Often, it's a huge culture of hazing and doing whatever it takes to be part of the team, whatever the sacrifice is for you. It's a very old school way of working that seems to still be extremely prevalent in Nippon Life Insurance. These issues seems to be compounding because the Japanese audience for insurance is shrinking. Rightly, because the Japanese population is shrinking. So basically more people are getting more harassed because they don't meet their sales targets because there's not enough people to sell to. It's a very bad cycle, and that is why Nissay ranks second in Japan as the worst place to work at. Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for. The number 1 spot on the 5 worst places in Japan to work at. Japan Railways East. This hurts me so much to say, as I'm deeply passionate about the Japanese railways. But JR East has some serious problems. Before I go into them, I just want to talk a little bit about JR East, because this is a spectacular company. This is basically the company that co-founded the Shinkansen, possibly the world's best bullet train. And today, it still runs the world's busiest bullet train line and the world's busiest train line in all categories, the Yamanote line. But, alright, let's get down to business. Why is this company so bad to work for? Well, the core issue seems to be the relentless pursuit of perfection in service, while the workforce is shrinking. Employees are complaining about vicious cycles of overwork. And on top of that, some employees have lost as many as 20 of their vacation days due to being called back to work for emergencies. Okay, we all get it. It's hard to run the world's best train system. But at least they're getting compensated well, right? Well, you're wrong. Here's actually the worst part about working for JR. You see, working for JR in Japan has been more of a pride thing than a salary thing. But things got so much worse after COVID-19. You see, when COVID-19 hit, basically, as in most parts of the world, the whole train system stopped. And because JR is partly a private company, they had huge losses that they needed to cover. Because they didn't want to fire anyone, because 1, this is Japan, and 2, they knew that traffic was gonna come back again, they basically lowered everyone's salary by as much as 20%. So now, when train traffic is back to normal, people are doing more work than ever for less money than ever. And even though these employees are working so hard, it seems that the corporate culture only favors seniority and do not care about performance. And to top it off, employees are saying that the CEO, Yuji Fukuzawa, does not seem to have a compelling vision on how to get out of this rut for the employees. So all they can do is chug along or quit. And this perfect cocktail of horror is the reason why JR East is the worst company in Japan to work for. So there you have it, folks. These are the worst companies in Japan to work for, and I hope you learned a lot when you might search for a job in Japan or be a customer of one of these companies. But as I've said previously, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Information spreads faster than ever, and people are talking about these issues, which forces these companies to acknowledge them, because the work pool in Japan is so limited right now. I know this is just a video about me rambling on, but I truly hope that even a video like this has a tiny potential to make a difference in Japanese work culture. So please, like, subscribe, and share this video so that more people can find out where they really want to work in Japan and where they want to be customers. That's truly all I have to say today. Goodbye.